XRP. It's been taking off like a rocket lately. What is it? Should you invest in it? I've had several friends reach out to me and wanting to know my opinion on XRP. So I'm putting this video together for you guys, especially for you, Ken. I want you and Cam, and I want you guys to know what I think about XRP and how I would advise you to approach it if you're interested in investing in it. I have a long Q&A discussion with this on First Step Bitcoin. In the first step on the Q&A, it was way too long to publish here and put it on other places. So I'm making a quicker, shorter video that you can watch in a few minutes and get some info out there about XRP. Um, XRP, what is it? So XRP is it's what's called an altcoin. It's an alternative coin to Bitcoin. That's generally how it's classified. Other people might want to classify it as other ways. Bitcoin maximalists might call it, lump it in with the what they call shit coins. Anything that's not Bitcoin is a shit coin. Other people might take offense to that and say it's got great improvements over Bitcoin. That being said, I do have some concerns about XRP that I think you need to know before you invest in. I want to say up front, I have XRP. I bought it a long time ago when I was still dabbling in altcoins. I'm much more of a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm almost completely a Bitcoin maximalist, and I have a few that I hang on to because I'm waiting for price targets to hit, if they ever hit, and then I'm cashing out and buying Bitcoin with them. But I do still, to this point, have some XRP, and I'll tell you about that. How I bought it, how I use it, it's going to be in part of my recommendation. But I do have concerns for people. I think first and foremost, I don't know that the XRP is a viable long-term investment compared to Bitcoin. I just don't think it has the long-term potential that Bitcoin does. I don't like that it was 100% pre-mined, right? So they mined all of it was created before it was open to the public. Bitcoin, it was open to the public from day one, and anybody was able to mine it from day one, and it was a truly free market. XRP is not. We'll talk about that. I worry that they might be able to, because it is not decentralized like Bitcoin is. There is a central group that controls, Ripple Labs controls XRP. I'm worried that they might, in some future day, inflate it. Or increase the supply, and so that ability there, that potential exists there, much vastly stronger than it could with Bitcoin. I do worry about some of the misrepresentation, the deceitfulness, the perceived deceitfulness and dishonesty of Ripple Labs trying to deny that they were ever involved with the creation of XRP. There just seems to be some information out there that points otherwise, in my opinion. If it was pre-mined, it's centralized, and it's potentially inflatable. What problem does XRP really solve as a cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoin was created to prevent inflation, to prevent people from manipulating it, being centralized, and it being as fair a currency to everybody who could possibly use it as possible. XRP didn't really seem to be created with that in mind. It seems like it was created in mind to be a source of massive profit for the people who created it. I will say this, though, in its defense. It does have an improvement over our current fiat system in two ways currently. People are not forced to use it by a government, right? That's a potential thing right there. So that being said, that forces them to compete on the open market. They have to provide value to people, or people aren't going to use it. People aren't going to buy it, right? Whether or not that's happened yet, that's very subjective, depending on who you talk to. Because it's controlled by a small group of people. Um, it's centralized, right? It is susceptible to being compromised. It creates a rules not rulers situation. I need to create another video to help you explain that. But when rulers are in power, they can change the rules. When rules are enforced, rulers have to abide by them as well. They can't be manipulated by the few for their benefit. Collaborating with governments to create a CBDC. XRP has been trying to sell the ability to create CBDCs to different governments. I really don't like this. This is one of the most antithetical things that cryptocurrencies were created for: freedom of money, free money. CBDCs are the opposite. It's the government having even more control over money than they do now. And not only that, but being able to control how you use it and to see completely how you use it. It's a terrible idea. It's a very selfish idea. It benefits a very small percentage of humanity at the expense of all the rest of us. Ripple Labs has actively lobbied to change Bitcoin's code to benefit XRP, to make it less effective, less efficient, and more easy to compete with. They're spending money. it just, I don't know. Again, it seems antithetical to me. They should be spending their money to better develop XRP, not market it. They also market it and run hype cycles on social media and whatnot to pump up the price. The centralized group is kind of exhibiting all the behaviors of why we want to decentralize um, currency. XRP's blockchain is missing the first 32,000 blocks. I don't know if this has been changed, fixed, whatever, but that's a huge red flag right there. That's where they did all their pre-mining. It's not good. Another one that all I need to say is that the World Economic Forum endorses Ripple. No good. Even Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, thinks that XRP is scammy. And if you look him up and his comments on XRP, you'll see he has some reasonably good points to why he feels they're scammy. Um, I don't love the massive supply of XRP. It's really deceptive. It's like a psychological trick. It has this massive supply, a small price. It creates this illusion in our head that we can buy a ton of it, right, for cheap. And then if it blows up, it's going to make us rich, right? There is a psychological aspect that is deceptive and kind of tricking us when you have this massive supply. They are not the only cryptocurrency that does this either, but they do. They do it and others do it. They have this massive supply. It looks cheap and it creates this hope in us that it's a very low percentage chance, but that it's going to explode and make us wealthy beyond our dreams, right? Like winning the lottery. Not quite that way, but close. Also, XRP has underperformed Bitcoin since 2014. Like it just has not commuted. It has spikes where it outperforms it, absolutely. But the general trend and the general price is equal to or below what it was in 2014. So it's not really progressing against Bitcoin. XRP could really, I have fears it could already be compromised and being used as a spy coin to monitor how people use it, and that, or that information is being collected and could be sold, which is again, is I think is the opposite to why cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, was created. I think it's antithetical again. It's network of trusted nodes. These are the computers that control the future, the direction, and whatnot, and keep the records of XRP transactions. They may be centrally controlled by Ripple. This is according to the Bank of International Settlements, an organization that works under the United Nations, and they are saying that if its nodes are controlled by Ripple, they are saying that its network of trusted nodes may be centrally controlled by its issuer Ripple, according to them. That's their words, not mine. But if its nodes are controlled by Ripple, then it's not a free market system, right? There's not this open participation and ability to have a community that influences the direction of this and is benefited by it and protected in their benefits, and it doesn't serve a centralized group. And it also acknowledges the BIS, its statement. It also points to the fact that XRP was created by, it says its issuer Ripple. So they believe that Ripple created XRP, or the people in Ripple created it and then gifted it over to Ripple. And then one of the biggest things actually, Ripple can be shut down, right? If it's centralized like that, if it has a centrally controlled set of nodes, it can be shut down. Bitcoin cannot be shut down, right? You'd have to shut down the entire internet to shut down Bitcoin. But as soon as you open it back up, Bitcoin would start to run again, right? It's just so impossible to weed it out completely at this point in time as though it was something bad. It's not. It's something very good, and it's very resilient and has a lot of backup and contingency built into it so that if tragic things like that or disastrous things like that happen, Bitcoin can recover. And so it protects people's wealth through that and makes it accessible to them even through serious disasters, right? So those are some of the things that I'm worried about. Now, if you decide you're going to go ahead and buy some XRP anyways, you think it's a good speculative opportunity, I think that's good that you recognize, because that's what it is. But anytime you are getting into a speculative opportunity, like where you're investing in individual stocks, individual coins, I think there's some things you need to keep in mind. First and foremost, realize the odds are against you. Okay. Anytime we go into individual investments like this, the odds are against us that they're going to perform over time. And it's really important to understand this because when we go to a casino, you should realize too that most likely you're going to lose. The casino run those games to be profitable, not to make you money, right? And so in each of those casino games, there is somewhere between, well, other than craps, there's somewhere between a 0.5% to a 16.67% on on all the big games, house advantage over you. If you play just like the pass line, I think it is with craps, you can play a 0% game. Most people don't do that when they play craps. They want to take more risk and have more fun, and so they ignore that possibility. So over time, you're going to lose 16% more of the games against the house, up to 16%. Now, when you're doing that with stocks, it's open ended. You can lose all your money on stocks. You can at the casino too. You can gamble it all away. But if you play a safe, there's are certain safe middling strategies that you can use with casino games to where you um, can minimize your losses, right? And maximize the time you play and your enjoyment doing that. Stocks can be a lot harder. There's been great examples of big, massive companies that have absolutely melted down. And most like Enron, right? And most recently, like Intel is just tanking over the last several years. And, 50, I think their price is somewhere around what it was in 1974. Here we are 50 years later, and it's like nothing, like all their growth in terms of their market cap and the value of their stock has like been lost. Like it's a terrible tragedy that we're seeing right now. Anyways, so realize the odds are against you. Gauge your tolerance for loss is another important thing. And I think there's three main factors that you need to take into account when you're gauging your tolerance for loss. Time, the amount of money you have relative to what you want to retire on or be financially independent, and your own personal emotions, because not everybody has the same emotional state or reactions when they lose money, and you need to be aware of this and gauge this. I have a rule called the 1-5-10% rule, where you could go up to 10%, which is extremely risky in my opinion, in terms of having 10% of your portfolio dedicated to speculative risk. And that should also be the money you put into the portfolio, not the total value of your portfolio. It's not like you say, if I have $100,000 portfolio, I'm going to have $10,000 to speculate with. And if I lose that, now I have a $90,000 portfolio and I have $9,000 speculative. You can see over time, you're going to wipe yourself out. So this is really a 1-5-10% of the money you put into your portfolio, into your investments, can go into these more speculative, they're gambling type investors. You're going to be honest with yourself. You're going to create a good policy for yourself. So here's some of the things you got to do. If you have less than 5 years till you want to be financially independent, or till when you're going to retire, you should really use 5% or less, right? It should be probably something like this as a general recommendation. If you have 5 years, only speculate 5%, 4 years, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. If you only have 1 year till you want to retire, being financially independent, then you should do 1% or less. And then after you're retired and you're living on this money, you really shouldn't do more than 1%, because you need to preserve this money to be financially independent and to get you through your retirement years. So, and then the next factor is the money. How much money do you have? Are you way past the money, the goal you needed to live the lifestyle you want with the money that you have? If you are, you can be a little bit more speculative. You have more money to play with. You still want to be careful with this. You want to still have the attitude of being, I want to preserve my first rule is to preserve my capital, right? To preserve my investments, to preserve the money that I've saved for to be financially independent or to retire, right? That has to be goal number one, is to keep that money safe. Then you want to grow that money. You want to put it into places where it's going to grow reliably, grow tax-free, things like that. So gauge that. If you have a ton of money, way more than you need to live the lifestyle you want, you can be a little bit more speculative, a little bit more aggressive, right? Not too much, right? Have a little bit of fun with it. I know people have this need to speculate and take risks and gamble and see when they can win, but just have a plan for it and keep it in control, because it can totally wipe you out. It can provide entertainment for you. It could actually, you could win and you could hit it big, and it could really improve your financial status, but the odds are against that. Time and studies and market investing results have proven this time and time again, that speculators just get punished over time. Um, and then the last thing you need to consider is your emotions. Like if you have big emotional swings when you lose money, you need to keep your percentage that you speculate on as small as possible. You don't want to ruin the quality of life because you're upset all the time because you've lost too much money, right? Too much money for you emotionally, right? And then there's the other spectrum too, where maybe you're too flippant and too nonchalant about it. Oh, I'll make that money back, no big deal. Just keep doing my 10%. Be honest with yourself. Where are you in both your mindset and your emotions, right? Are you going to be able to tolerate losses? Like, just assume, like with your speculative budget, I'm what go into it thinking this: I'm going to lose all this money. All this money is lost. As soon as I put it into my speculative budget, it's gone. It's lost, right? How I use it is how I lose it is the only thing I have control over, but it's all going to be lost, right? And that way, if you win, it's a huge bonus, right? But you have to kind of be honest with yourself on that one and realize that you are putting it all at stake here, right? How are you going to deal with that? If you look at that money and think, if I'm going to lose all this, no, I'm putting it in here, and as soon as I do, that money's gone. How do you feel? If that is crushing you, if that's like, causing you to lose your breath and to get anxious, then you need to put a small amount as possible in there, right? If you think I'm going to win no matter what, blah, 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 then you're on the opposite end and you're not being real enough with yourself and you're putting yourself at too much risk, right? Your emotions aren't kicking in enough to keep you safe. And you need to realize that and set some hard and fast rules for yourself so that you don't ruin your financial future, your money future, or that of your family as well, right? So use that 1, 5, 10% rule. Gauge your tolerance for risk based on the time you have left till you want to be financially independent or retire, the amount of money you have uh, um, as a percentage of your goals for this financial independence days, and your emotions. Gauge your emotions um, for positive and for negative. And then so now you've decided, you've got this plan, you know how much you're going to speculate on your money that you put into your investments. Have an exit plan. Okay. One of my favorite ones that I use a ton. Uh, and I've had really good success with it because I was disciplined with it. Over time, I'm still losing more than I win in my speculative ones. I'll be totally honest about it. But I play with house money. I learned this from Robert Kiyosaki over 2 decades ago. But as soon as one of my initial investments doubles, I take out half of it. So if I put $1,000 into an investment and it goes up to $2,000, I take 1,000 out and put it back into my speculative pool, so I can put it into another investment. It gives me more chances to play, more chances to win. But I'm still honest with myself about the fact that when I put that money in, it's probably going to lose. But when it wins, I surprise myself. I congratulate myself. I take half of it out and put it back into the pool for my speculative investing. Right. So play with house money at that point. That's what that means. At that point in time, you're not playing with your money. You're playing with the money that you made. Right. Playing with house money. Have a cash out target. That's the next thing. Have a plan that at a certain price you're going to cash it all out, or at certain stages, certain prices that hit, you're going to cash out part of it. Maybe that's how you continually, every X amount, like maybe at $100 you cash out 25% of what's there, and then at 200 you cash out another 25%. You could do that on and on forever, right? Or you could do 50% of everything at $100, and then you're going to cash out all the rest at 200. You can have that in multiple steps, but have a cash out strategy. Have some set prices that you're going to follow, that you are going to take your profits and your winnings when you actually win on your speculative investments. Have those strategy. So if you're thinking, Kane, that you want to buy some XRP, uh, just make this plan, right? Put $1,000 into it, or whatever you were thinking you're going to put into it. When it doubles, take out your initial, and then have those set strategy prices that you're going to cash out the remaining money. And if you hit those things, you win. You can put that into a fun vacation, something else. You can put it back into the speculative fund. So definitely have these cash out prices, and hey, knock your socks off and plan some fun things that you're going to do with it, or that put it in for your next investments, right? Definitely want to roll over those profits. Have that target, roll over those profits, and ideally roll over those profits in a tax advantaged account, right? Like maybe an HSA or a 401, a Roth 401k, or excuse me, a Roth IRA, something like that, where you don't have to pay taxes on your profits and your earnings. But be careful how you use those too, because you don't want to have those solely for speculative investments, because they're such great tools to preserve and grow your wealth, to be able to use it tax free when you're ready to be financially independent, or you're ready to retire. So you don't want to use those strictly for speculative investments. As a matter of fact, you want to use that 1, 5, 10% rule, and only have 1, 5, 10% of the money that you put into there go into speculative investments as well, because you want to preserve 90% to 99% of what you put in there to to go into productive, low risk, high return investments like Bitcoin that will produce for you over time and put you in a great financial place when you're ready to be financially independent or retire or actually increase or shorten the time from you getting to those points to where you can be financially independent and free. So those are some of my thoughts. Just going to recap that really quick for you. So be careful. XRP has some things that really concern me about it. So just be aware of that. If you think it's a good speculative opportunity, just remember to manage carefully the investments that you make, your speculative investments have that range. Use that 1, 5, 10% rule to gauge uh, what your tolerance for speculative investments is based on those factors, right? The factors of time you have left till you want to be financially independent and retire, the amount of money you have as a percentage of your goal that you need for to be financially independent, and of course your emotions. Gauge your emotions. Are you going to be wrecked by small losses, and or are you going to be too nonchalant about big losses? You have to adjust your percentages based on that and be honest with yourself. And then remember, you have an exit plan. Play with house money, like Robert Kiyosaki says. Cash out half after the initial investment doubles, and then you got your initial investment back, and you can put it into other things, but you're now playing with house money, so to speak. Have a cash out target or a set of target steps, percentages or amounts that you're going to cash out, and then just do your best to roll over your profits and do this in a place where you don't have to pay taxes on your profits. All right. So there's my thoughts on XRP and how you should approach it and how you should approach any speculative investment. But right now, XRP is the rage, so I totally understand why everybody's asking it. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. This will be posted in the First Step Bitcoin community on the YouTube channel as well, maybe some other places. Wherever you see this, just put some comments. Maybe I'm missing something. Poke holes in my theories. And they're not just my theories, these are my practices. I've been using these for 2 decades and I've had good success with them. But they're not beyond improvement. So I'm always willing to hear new ideas. And maybe you think there's some advantages to XRP that I didn't cover that people should know about. Put those in there as well, too. So anyways, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful for you. Look forward to any comments you have for improving this or for helping you understand anything I talked about in here better. And thanks for watching.